Hi, my name is Luis Fargas, and I was born and raised here in 1951, talking about Chelsea itself. And this culture here has been defined by many races. I recently, when I was younger, moved from New York, from Chelsea, to California, which I stayed there for 32 years exactly, and since then have relocated back to Chelsea, and I found, it's still the same. It's still a rich culture of all different people. The neighborhood has changed a bit. I'm really surprised at that, how it has flourished and how it's gained such popularity, which is really nice to know, because Chelsea, when I came up, we were a little town, a little neighborhood in Manhattan, in Lower Manhattan, which was mixed with the working class, blue-collar working class people. My dad worked for the Department of Sanitation. My mom was a homemaker, and we came from a large family, a lot of brothers and sisters, so we had a really busy household. It was really an experience to be here. I attended the elementary school here, St. Columbus in Chelsea, went to Fashion Industries, graduated from there. I had a few jobs here, worked for the city, and then I decided at one point to just go ahead and do a little venturing out, and I chose to move to Los Angeles, California, which I've lived, as I stated earlier, for the last 32 years, and have decided to relocate back to kind of spend some more time with my parents now that they're up in age. So it's been a really great experience, though, living here and growing up here and coming back again to see the diversity still here, the cross-culture of people still here, and what people are doing in life here. It's amazing, sitting here on the Hudson River. We used to dive over here when we were kids, I remember that, waiting for the tugboats to go by, and we'd jump in and ride the wave. Almost killed myself one time doing that too. We had so many things that we used to do as kids. We had such a cross-culture of people, and the different sports that we played there. We had softball, we had handball, we had hockey, we had roller skating, we played basketball, handball. We had Chelsea Park, where we had, the 28th Street gym, where we could go swim. The basketball kind of stuck out for me. I remember hitting that first jumper, and my dad jumping up and down saying, "Good shot, good shot." Then we crossed over into the baseball, into softball, and I hit my first home run. That was something to remember. That was something that we really had a great time. We talked about, we bragged about as we were kids. We went to our little corner store where Mr. Glick owned a little candy store, and we used to go there and we get our sodas and our string candy, and we got our treats. And if we really won a good game, we got treated to our hot dogs and sodas, and you couldn't get any better than that. When I talk about those games and the things that we used to do, it brings out one good friend that I grew up with, and we had a great time. His name was Victor. Victor and David, they were brothers, and we all went to school together, and we had a grand old time. We had another friend whose mom owned a grocery store, and we would go there and just, she would all see us coming in, and we would be able to get our little Latin treats, our little plátano, our papas, the little treats that she would have, the canepas, when the fruit was fresh. We would be able to get those little seeded fruits, and we would have a blast just sitting down and eating those things. And we had families. Families were very close-knit. So when we did things there, if you did something wrong, your mom knew about it before you got home. If you had to do something and you were little, you asked to go across the street, they would take you across the street. If they saw you doing something that was out of the ordinary, or they said, "Oh, this guy's being a little mischievous," they would let the parents know. One parent would tell another parent. So basically, you were pretty much safe within the community itself, and that's what made it so special about being here, is that everybody had a mom. And again, it necessarily didn't have to be your mom, but you had one, so somebody was always watching over you. And it kept us out of trouble too, I might add. And it was a lot of fun in respect to just the sports and the things that we did. I learned how to swim in the 28th Street gym. We had that gym there for years. Some of the famous boxers we knew back then, Emil Griffith, Benny Kid Paret, the Trani family. This family was known for their boxing skills, and Mr. Trani, God bless him, he was one of the guys that taught us at the Hudson Gill, which was our community center. And he dedicated his time to teach us how to box. We had Mr. Alexander, we had Mr. Patterson. These are just all the grown-up, the men that would mentor the young kids and give us direction in which way we were to go, because they knew, which we didn't know, that there was a lot of wolves out there as children, and they kind of protected us during our formative years of growing up. But in Chelsea, it was just special. It was very unique in the things that we did there. From the cadets to the wood shop. We had a wood shop where I made toy chests. We had a clay shop where we made our own pottery and learned how to fire it and glaze it and come up with some really nice pieces that some of them my mom still has today. You know, and she says, "Louis, I remember when you made this when I was downstairs in the little clay shop." So all those things bring back the good times of living in Chelsea. A lot of actors were born and raised here. One of them being my own brother, who happened to be an actor and still is acting today, and is very prominent in his field. And we just had a good time knowing that we would get ready to see our brother on TV, so that was fun. You know, and then we had kids that grew up with us that we used to walk to school together. You know, we were taken across the street with the same kids, and now today they're well-known actors and actresses in their field. And they still come home because this is home. You know, and that's how close the families were in the neighborhood. And it was really, really a fun time. When I think back, I remember when the docks were really active here, when the tugboats were coming in and out. We had the commercial ships coming in. We had a whole lot of docks that was just loaded with the fruit and the vegetables and everything coming in and out of our ports, because we were really, really, really involved with a lot of the commerce, a lot of the trade for all the boroughs of Manhattan. But in any way, I remember as a kid, we would wait for the tugboats to go by, and me, a good friend named Brian McSweeney, a bunch of us, we would wait for the tugs to go by, and then we'd dive in the water and ride the big waves, and that was our fun. Little did I know that those waves could have killed me, because I found out one day, because it almost did. We had jumped off into the water, and the undertow of the current started pulling me down. So I'm swimming, and it wasn't going nowhere. So here comes Big Brian, and he grabs me by the shoulder, and we help each other back to the dock, and they pull me up on the rope. So I remember that, because as a result of me having to be pulled out of the dock, which I never told my mom about, I scraped my pinky almost down to the bone, you know, trying to get out of the water. I'd gotten so scared. And me and Brian, we thanked each other. He just looked at me and said, "You're never gonna swim that great. You'd be jumping in there with that tugboat. Are you crazy?" So we just laughed about it, and we went home. You know, my mom asked me what happened to my pinky, and I just said, "Oh, I fell down." I wouldn't dare tell her that I was diving into the Hudson River. She really would have killed me then. But that's some of the things that I remember us doing. We go roller skating, and we roller skate all over the place. We go down towards the docks again and roller skate and go around the community roller skating. We actually had little roller skating games. We used to call our own roller derby. We used to have our own roller derby. And we would just have a grand old time doing stuff like that. I learned through the years that Chelsea was actually one of the first communities to be multicultural. And that's a statement for a community, to be one of the first ones in Manhattan or in this area to actually be multicultural. We had Greek, we had German, we had Italian, we had Puerto Rican, we had Cuban, Panamanian. We had a very, very Irish. I mean, it was just really multicultural, and that's what made, I think, what made this place so special about being in Chelsea, because we weren't left wing, we weren't right wing. We were right in the middle of everything, and people kind of enjoyed being here when we did those things. Growing up here, as I remember it. Today, I find that the community is not as diversified as it used to be. And I think that's a sign of the time, where people are starting to form different opinions and not one opinion, and they're not in one accord anymore as we used to be. There were times when it was rough. You know, that's in every child's life and every adult's life in Chelsea. There were disputes, but there was never anything major. As a whole, when we walked together, we all walked together. And when we broke bread in the community setting, we all broke bread together. Today, I don't see that as being as prominent as I would like it to be today. And I think that if we worked on that, that would be another part of the mystique of Chelsea, that people would really want to come and figure out what is the actual nature of Chelsea. Why do people really want to come and live in Chelsea? I don't think it's because it's the place to be. I think it's because of the persona of what it represents. The communities, the families, the love and respect that was given during those times can still be captivated again. And when I hear people talk about Chelsea, they talk about those fond memories. They talk about the meatpacking district. They talk about what people used to do here. And it's nice to know that they're talking about my heritage. One day I would like to see Chelsea kind of go backwards a little bit and go back to that family-orientated community that I grew up in. I like to see more kids interacting and having fun with each other, doing more things together. I like to see more, spreading a little bit more love and respect towards each other. You know, be willing to reach out, reach down, and pick up your fellow man, or your little buddy. You know, that they be able to sit with each other and have a good time and enjoy each other, and understand that at one point Chelsea actually was a beautiful community, and it still is, and it still can come back to what it once was. And that was that era when we all got along with each other and we respected each other's individuality. Those are the things that I look at. Those are the things I remember. Those are the things I like to see come back to us. And in the future, there's no doubt in my mind that that'll happen, because I think there's still that main factor here. That main factor is the love and respect that Chelsea still holds.